Brazil, we have a restaurant called Oliveira Kitchen in Shoreditch, in the heart of London, cooking plant-centric food. I was born in the small town of Ji-Paraná in the state of Rondônia, in the southern plains of the Amazon forest. I'm the first generation of settlers born in that part of the world. And before I was born, the region was just a federal reserve, so there was no state. So I'm a descendant of immigrants that became an immigrant when I moved from Brazil to Britain. So I consider myself a child of the planet Earth. I was born and raised in an area where we had many different food traditions meeting together. We've developed this restaurant based on a few principles, mainly to answer the question, if not meat, what? A lot of chefs are trying to desperately to substitute meat or replace it for something else, for ultra-processed foods. I believe that that's not the solution. The solution we already have. Nature has given us the alternative to meat, and we are trying to demonstrate that in our cooking. The vast majority of the ingredients we use are local and seasonal. We change the menu very often, sometimes twice in a week, sometimes 3 times in a month. We don't have a plan, really. We go to the market, we see what is available, and then when we find one ingredient we like, one that will be the centerpiece of the dish, and then we ask the question, what does it need? What should go with it? And in the attempt to answer those questions, that's how the dish is born. Once in a while, I will bring something exotic. I'm from the Amazon forest, so I tended to bring quite a few rare ingredients from there. I didn't want to pin a flag on the menu. I didn't want to make it a Latin American restaurant. I wanted to disrespect borders and bring ingredients and ideas and concepts from every single place in the planet. How dining changed is one of the reasons why I started this project the way I did. I see a lot of movement towards eating more and more vegetables and plant. I call it plant-centric. Some call it plant-based or plant-forward. The tendency is now, in a desperate attempt to replace meat or a traditional diet, is being replaced by ultra-processed food. I consider myself an environmentalist. For the same reason I don't do beef, I also don't do vegan beef. They're all part of a very complex problem that raises a lot of questions that we are attempting to address and to solve. So I avoid those. For the same reason I don't do chicken, I don't do soy. For the same reason I don't do pork, I don't do palm oil. The solution, it's much, much simpler. You buy some vegetables, go home and cook. You don't need the ultra-processed element. You don't need it to try to replace meat. So a lot of people who are concerned with their health, they are being put off from becoming vegetarian or vegan because they think the alternative will be heavy on ultra-processed foods. So it's not healthy and it doesn't help the environment either. We have these two trends: fresh food, handcrafted by proper chefs, they becoming more and more expensive because of the cost of living and wages. A lot of restaurants find they can only survive if they buy ultra-processed food because it's way cheaper, more affordable, so they can keep their customer base. Somehow we must find a happy medium, that we can do craft food without the ultra-processed element and without being so expensive. So I think we are trying to do just that. More and more people are curious to try more vegetarian food, and more people feel conscious about their habits and their diet, and both for health reasons and second for the health of the planet. So as chefs, I think we should try to find a way to make that transition possible, to make it financially sustainable but also delicious and fun, and which is one of the main thing about going out for a dinner, is to have fun, to enjoy yourself. So we needed to keep that fun element in there, but nutritional element in there. Try to put all those together in the menu. That's the biggest challenge, and I think we are doing our best to answer to that, to address that challenge. A chef who says vegetables aren't exciting enough, they should reconsider their careers. To do something else, you're not good at it. If you don't have the imagination to take a humble celeriac and turn it into something incredible, you shouldn't call yourself a chef. You should, I don't know, there's so many jobs out there you could be doing. And I think is the challenge is welcoming. The challenge is the most amazing thing. It's what keeps us alive. That's the mission. The mission is to find what is possible, turn it into reality, and entertain your guests. And maybe, and that's how you can change the world, you can convince your customer to take it home, to take to their personal lives and do it at home. So it is a very important job. The same way coders change the modern life online, and the same way engineers create new techniques to build amazing buildings, the job of the chef is exactly that, is to find the product, and especially the ones that few people are courageous enough to tackle. Find that product, create something with it, and make it interesting. That is your mission. And if you're not capable to do that, then what are you doing in the kitchen? You should get another job, another career. Throughout our history, we, especially in the past, before the past 20 years, energy was very expensive, resources were limited, and then it makes sense people would boil things and just roast it outdoors because that was the simplest. But with today's world and the knowledge we have of foods, that's no longer an excuse. You have to sleep with it. You have to experiment it. You have to enjoy it. You have to challenge your own palate and understand that product, understand the vegetable, and understand what it lacks, and then find the coadjuvant, find the other elements that it needs to add to it. If it's a very dark green vegetable, avoid boiling. Try steaming lightly. Try to confit. Actually, confit at very, very low temperature can help enhance the flavors and the colors. What we perceive as flavor is mainly aromatics. Our brain interprets as flavor. Sometimes a dish tastes sweet not because it has sugar in it, but just because of the aromas is sweeter, and it triggers our brain into thinking. So maybe you find the right herb that will assist the right vegetable to get the best result out of it. Try to rethink the way we cook and the way we treat vegetables. Try not to destroy it by cooking it is too much. Sometimes a little bit of grilling is enough. If I would cook an asparagus with a little bit of olive oil, not too long in the water, because a lot of the aromas and the flavors will go out in the solution. Most importantly, don't treat vegetable as a cheap produce. Treat it with a little bit more veneer, a little bit more respect, and you will see you can do great things with them. And the act of cooking and sharing food, it's what makes us develop civilization. That was the leap we needed to come from a tribal, limited number of people living in the jungle or in the savannah to a civilized species. Cooking around the fire and sharing the food, you see, the whole experience of life is about resources. Every single living organism is fighting for resources, be it the sunlight or the nutrients from the soil or the fruits that we take. And that struggle for resources ended up bringing us together. And it was through food that we developed better language, that we developed techniques, that we developed need to be together, to find the resources together and share those resources. And it happens today when a family goes to a restaurant and share a meal, or a group of friends meet together to share some drinks and food. That is the main element in humanity, that what distinguishes us from all the other animals, is that ability, the understanding that we have to gather together to fight the struggle of life together, and then share the food, share the resources. It is the most important facet of human existence. It is the most interesting part of our lives together. And that will never stop, that will never end. That element will be there. It was in the past, it's now, and it will be in the future. We will always be linked, bonded together through food. I try not to tell people what they should eat. It's a personal choice. Whatever you decide to eat, whatever you decide to do with your body is for you to be concerned about. Also, you are the only one who will pay the consequences. You are the result of your diet, and if you are happy with that, so that's fair game. But when it comes to the environment, that doesn't belong to you or to me. It belongs to the future generations. It's what we are leaving behind, is what we inherited. The environment is a shared space. So you don't have the right to destroy it. I don't have the right to destroy it. But how can we put it together and find the solution? So we should look at the environment not as Brazilians or British or Americans, but we are one species sharing one planet. So we should consider what we eat, not from a individual level, but also what consequences our lifestyle and our diet. So we should consider what we eat not from an individual level, but from a species-wide level. What the consequences of my actions and my traditions will leave behind to the environment that I inherited and what I'm leaving to my children to inherit. So sometimes we are very eager to eat certain dishes, and it's okay to have it once in a while. I never tell my customers you should stop eating meat and become vegetarian. I'm not going to tell that to my dad or my mom because it's going to be very difficult for them. But I managed to convince them to eat much less meat and to appreciate vegetables more. There is so much nature has to offer, and we limit ourselves to a very small grouping of foods. And by exploring more what is out there, we can only enhance our experience in this planet. Maybe we should have a second look at food. Not because somebody's making you feel guilty about it, but maybe because there is a flavor in there you never thought you would ever encounter. I have a lot of that from my customers. 70% of my customers are meat eaters. And they come here and they say, I never heard of this ingredient before. I never thought I would try this before. And for me, they are just simple food, but maybe for somebody else, it's something really rare. Back home in the Amazon forest, strawberry is very exotic and rare, and it's very expensive. But then we have pitaya and cupuaçu and graviola that for you is very rare and very exotic because you never heard of it. So what is common to me, it might be rare and exotic to you, and what is common to you will be rare and exotic to me. If we share that, I can try a little bit of your culture and your life experience, and you can try a little bit of mine. We can only enhance our own individual experiences. So maybe we should open our eyes a little bit and experiment a little bit more, and we might even be happier for it.